Join us as we take you on a rather adventurous dirt road trip through some amazing, colorful, and simply stunning Utah scenery. This virtual tour makes its way along a stretch of Smoky Mountain Road as it climbs the towering Kaiparowits Plateau just north of Lake Powell. Our route forms a loop that begins and ends in the town of Bigwater, Utah, situated on the western edge of Lake Powell, and just a short drive from the larger town of Page, Arizona. Much of this tour goes through the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, which is a complex area. To best prepare yourself for this journey and to learn about this area in general, we suggest that you watch our video that explains it in more detail. The link is in the upper right corner and in the video's description, or simply search YouTube for Grand Staircase Escalante by Backroads West. If you followed the overlanding craze in recent years and want to experience it for yourself, this tour offers a perfect introduction because where we're going is rather remote. But rather than experiencing it the overlander's way, by spending several days navigating dusty roads and camping in the remote wilderness, we'll do it all in one day trip, minus the camping, of course. You'll wake up in a comfortable hotel in Page, Arizona, and by nightfall, you'll be back in that same cozy bed. Now that's our kind of day trip. Now let me show you what we'll see along the way, where we're headed, and why this place is called Smoky Mountain. Our route forms a loop by following two separate roads, Smoky Mountain Road and Smoky Hollow Road. Before heading out, make sure you have plenty of supplies for the entire day: food, water, fuel, and anything else you might need. As mentioned before, where we're going is very remote, and the trip will most likely last a whole day. Your best bet for fuel and supplies is in Page, which is 16 miles or 25.5 kilometers east of Bigwater, following Highway US 89 on the east side of Glen Canyon Dam. We'll begin our tour in Bigwater, just off Highway 89. Near the turnoff, you'll find one of the visitor centers for Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. We highly recommend stopping in to check current road conditions for Smoky Mountain Road and Smoky Hollow Road. It's also a great place to learn about the area. Although, to be honest, I've never seen any of these animals running around up on the Kaiparowits. The entire route is on dirt, and we recommend having a high-clearance vehicle. Four-wheel drive is not necessary. After leaving Bigwater, we'll head out on Smoky Mountain Road, also known as BLM Road 300, tracing the northwest edge of Lake Powell. When you start out on Road 300, be sure to reset your vehicle's trip meter. Unfortunately, we won't see much of the lake, but what we will see are striking rock formations, dramatic cliffs rising to our left, and vast, desolate landscapes that will make you feel like you're on another world. And speaking of other worlds, it's no surprise that Hollywood filmmakers chose locations near this road to film such movies as Planet of the Apes in 1968 and John Carter in 2012, the latter using the area to depict landscapes on Mars. About 4.7 miles from Bigwater, you'll spot a trailhead on the right that leads down into Wiregrass Canyon. If you have an hour to spare, it's worth exploring. This canyon features striking, weathered rock walls shaped in ways you won't see elsewhere. After watching the scenery go by for about 12 miles or 19 kilometers, the landscape will change. We'll bear left and head up Smoky Hollow Road, or BLM Road 330. For the next 14 miles, or 22 kilometers, we'll enjoy very rugged and colorful canyon terrain. The road gets a bit rough here, but on the several occasions we've driven it, our Toyota 4Runner handled it with ease. We didn't even need to engage four-wheel drive. Overall, the roads appear to be well maintained. But keep in mind, Mother Nature can change things in an instant. A sudden thunderstorm can send torrents of water and mud down these roads, turning a smooth road into a serious challenge. That's why it's essential to check in at the Big Water Visitor Center before heading out. When Smoky Hollow Road finally climbs out of the canyon and reaches the top of the Kaiparowits Plateau, the road tees into Smoky Mountain Road, the same road we turned off of 14 miles previously. If you've watched our video about the National Monument, then you'll know that Smoky Mountain Road stretches from Big Water all the way to the town of Escalante, a journey of 77 miles or 123 kilometers. At the T intersection, we'll turn right. If we'd turned left here, we'd reach the pavement in Escalante in 51 miles or 81 kilometers. But we're going to turn right and head southeast. In 4 miles after turning, we're going to turn left onto BLM Road 332 so that we can see why this part of the Kaiparowits Plateau is called Smoky Mountain. In about a mile, on the right, providing the weather conditions are favorable, we might see smoke rising out of the ground a few hundred feet off Road 332. When we reach this section of the tour, I'll explain more about why there's smoke here. Continuing south on Smoky Mountain Road, we'll soon arrive at the Kelly Grade Overlook. From this vantage point, the sweeping, panoramic view of the rugged terrain that we'll soon descend into, and the Lake Powell region stretching beyond, is simply breathtaking. Our road now begins its descent down what's known as the Kelly Grade. For many travelers, this is the highlight of the entire loop. In our opinion, if there was a road that dropped into the Grand Canyon itself, it would look a lot like this: steep, dramatic, and absolutely unforgettable. Just like the ascent through Smoky Hollow, descending the Kelly Grade is a strikingly colorful experience. That's thanks to the John Henry member of the Straight Cliffs Formation, a geologic layer known for its vivid colors and rugged textures. It's this John Henry member that forms the impressive vertical cliffs all around the Kaiparowits Plateau. You can recognize it as the horizontal sediments on the sides of the plateau. Here, though, the Straight Cliffs Formation absorbed different minerals, which resulted in all the colors you see here after those minerals oxidized. At one point along the Kelly Grade, the road gets a bit nerve-wracking, especially for those uneasy with heights. For about half a mile, it clings to the side of a sheer cliff with an 800-foot or 243-meter drop just beyond the embankment. It's undeniably intimidating, but the view? Absolutely spectacular. As we continue the descent, you'll notice a few more pullouts offering more stunning views. One of our favorites is where we once stopped for lunch. Scenery and serenity, all in one spot. Just down the road, another overlook comes in a close second, with its dramatic view of the crazy, grayish tropic shale and the adjoining towering Straight Cliffs Formation. Just before completing our loop at the point where we veered left up Smoky Hollow Road, we'll take a short side trip by making a hard left onto Road 340, also known as Croton Road, and head east for a couple of miles. The goal is to reach, in our opinion, one of the most colorful portions of this whole area. About 2 miles from Smoky Mountain Road, you'll see these hills next to the road on the left. If you're looking to extend your day trip by an hour or more, and you've got a well-equipped, high-clearance four-wheel drive vehicle, consider venturing out to the iconic Alstrom Point. This overlook offers a stunning panorama of cliffs rising dramatically from Lake Powell. When we visited in 2024, the views weren't quite as spectacular. Lake Powell's water level has been low for several years and will likely stay that way for the foreseeable future. The road to Alstrom Point was extremely rough, to the point where, for us, the effort was barely worth it. But you might see it differently. Some travelers find the solitude and stark beauty well worth the challenge. From Croton Road, we'll head back to Smoky Mountain Road, and shortly we'll pass the spot where we veered onto Smoky Hollow Road earlier. From here, we'll return to Bigwater following the same 12-mile portion of road we traveled at the beginning of our tour. Alright, strap yourself in to whatever you're sitting on, and we'll begin the visual portion of our tour, starting by crossing Waweep Wash, just outside of Bigwater. We'll also point out on a map where those scenes are located. Ready? Alright, let's get going. Okay, we've arrived at the area where smoke mysteriously bellows out of cracks in the ground. This smoke is from underground coal that was set on fire, perhaps hundreds of years ago, and is still smoldering hundreds of feet below the surface. Remember those coal seams we saw earlier on Smoky Hollow Road? Think of how deep those coal seam layers are from this elevation. Geologists believe that lightning ignited the coal through cracks in the ground. After turning onto Road 332, it heads northeast. In about a mile, on the right, look for a somewhat flat area with thinner vegetation. About 100 feet from the road, look carefully for small columns of smoke coming out of the ground. If you decide to walk out to these smoky vents for a closer look, be extra careful and don't get too close. These are very deep holes, and the fumes are nauseous. Try not to breathe it in. Also notice how the rocks surrounding the vents have been stained yellow and black from the smoke. Believe it or not, the state of Utah spent a few $1,000,000 in the early 2000s trying to extinguish these fires. As you can see, they were unsuccessful. The reason why the area around these smoky vents have less vegetation than the surrounding area is because it was cleared by the construction crews attempting to extinguish the fires. All right, let's get on with our journey and to the best part of the whole tour, the descent down the Kelly Grade. And that wraps up our loop tour of Smoky Mountain via Smoky Mountain and Smoky Hollow roads. We hope you enjoyed the awesome scenery. Would you like to see more video tours of awesome places? Surf through our YouTube channel and click on whatever strikes your fancy. When you're there, if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button so that we can keep you updated when there are new tours to watch. And don't forget to also check out our website travel blog, where you can find even more detailed information about all of our tours. And when you do check out our blog, if you'd like to utilize the same maps you've seen us use in the video, look for the ads for Gaia GPS. Click on them to purchase a subscription at a discounted rate, and we'll receive a small commission that will help us fund our next adventure that we'll share with you. And so, until we take you on that next virtual tour, or maybe see you out there on the dusty trail, we bid you happy exploring.